leads us nicely into one of the main movies that we're going to be speaking about, and it's always great that we do this together, the three of
Mm,
us.
mhm.
Interesting, because that is the name of the movie that we're going to be speaking about, is Together. And you know how Deval at the beginning of the episode was mentioning about kind of release dates and things. This was released in Australia like a couple of weeks ago, but
Mm,
it wasn't released in the UK. So I don't get that. UK probably a bigger market, I'm assuming,
yeah,
but apparently it was released over here. Maybe it has some sort of connection to Australia, so they wanted to push it out. I don't know.
yeah. It was
But
filmed. Some of it was filmed there. Yeah.
okay, well, there you go. So this is Together. This stars Dave Franco. Now Duval. This is his. No, he hasn't directed this one, has he? But he is a
No.
director,
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
because remember he directed the one where they rent out the Airbnb with
What
Dan
one?
Stevens,
Rent out the Airbnb. What,
and
the
then there's a
guest?
The Guest. He
No,
directed that.
that can't be him. That
That's
came out
Ages ago.
seriously. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Are
So
you serious?
so when this came out, I was like, oh, Dave Franco, maybe he's going to be like directing this as well. But no, it is a different person. But interestingly, his wife in real life
Yeah.
plays his wife in this movie. So,
Yeah.
um, is it Brie, Alison Brie?
Alison Brie. Yeah.
So, real life couple playing a married couple in this movie. And I don't know why though. Whenever I see Dave Franco, he just kind of got this childlike, baby-like face.
Is he the brother of James Franco then?
Yes.
Okay. Are there more than two Francos, or is there another Franco?
Uh,
Maybe not.
Possibly.
Mm. Yeah, James Franco. Okay, James Franco and Tom Franco. Okay, but okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, all right.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, so he's done kind of, he's not. What I'm trying to get at is he's done the kind of horror genre, the
Mm.
psychological genre before, and maybe he has this kind of interest in it. He's also done kind of comedy, but they play kind of married couple, and they have this opportunity to go off into leave the big city. A lot of people are doing this, by the way, in real
Mm.
life. They want to
Mm.
leave the big city. They want to go off and they want to move out to kind of quieter places because it's cheaper, get rid of the hustle and bustle of the big city. So they do that. I think the wife, she's a teacher and he's a musician, but I can't remember. He's not a failed musician. He's just not doing
He hasn't succeeded yet in his goals. Let's
in
put
his
it that way.
goals.
Yeah.
So he's working on stuff. He's a
Mm.
bit of a kind of, bit of a mummy's boy. He's kind of, maybe a bit under the thumb. I remember when there's a bit in the movie at the start of the movie where they're given a toast, and there's
I missed that
something.
bit. So for me, okay, so
Oh,
I got
okay.
into it when there was a bed scene where he was dreaming of his mum. His mum was laying next to his dad, and then he woke up. He was having a nightmare. So that's
Yeah.
the bit I got in at. So
So
yeah, so
so before
before
that,
that, yeah,
they're having a leaving, like, all the friends around, they're leaving and everything. So he's talking with his mates, and they're saying, oh, what about this, and like, you're going to carry on like doing the music stuff. And then her best friend, cut to her best friend and her, and they're talking about, oh, what's he like, does he really want to go out, move out with you? And then
mm,
there's a whole thing that happens where she proposes to him.
Yeah.
Right, she
okay,
gets down on her knee, she proposes to him, and then there's a really awkward bit where
Awkward
he doesn't
silence.
do anything. Awkward
Yeah.
silence.
Yeah.
It's just silent.
So you know that situation where you've left it too long. That
uncomfortable.
awkwardness in front of everyone, and it's just
Ooh.
like, okay, that's long. That's too
Yeah,
long to be
it's too
making this.
long. And there's some sort of maybe tension going on between those two. Are they right for each other? Because
Mm,
they've been together for a couple of years or whatever. But
Mm.
are they really into each other? And then when she's the one who proposes to him and he takes his time, he's thinking about it. But going back to the scene that you just mentioned, Deval, yeah, that was really creepy. He's having this dream and he sees his mum. So there's some sort of kind of past trauma going on over there, and we kind of get to hear about that a little bit, about that kind of towards the movie. So they make this journey, they go across, and we've seen this trope before. Come on, guys, married couple or boyfriend, girlfriend, they go over to the sticks. They have a
Mm.
massive house, a creepy house, you know, in the middle of nowhere, and they've just moved in. We've seen this before in countless movies. So I'm thinking, okay, is this going to be kind of like a retread and all that sort of stuff? And then as the movie kind of progresses, they're getting used to living in the quiet life. They have the neighbor who knocks on the door, you know, who's straight away, as soon as he knocked on the door, I knew this guy
Yeah,
is
he's involved.
dodgy.
Yeah, he's involved somehow.
There's something up with this guy.
Are we talking about the teacher?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the teacher. I was like, oh gosh, we got to be careful of this guy. This, you know, there's something kind of crazy going on over here, and then as the movie progresses, they you know, they take a hike, they go off into the woods, which is connected to their land, and then they stumble upon this hole in the ground. They fall in the ground, you know.
Yeah.
What I don't get though is, and I'm going to come to this, and maybe you guys picked up on it as well. So it starts raining. They're shivering. They're trying to light a fire. They can't light a fire, and you know they're getting on each other's nerves, as you probably would in that situation, because you kind of trying to get out of the hole and everything. And then something weird. I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens, but something weird happens overnight. So, and it's connected to something that happened in the beginning of the movie, you know, with two dogs, which reminded me
Oh,
of
yes.
The Thing. Did you see that bit?
Yeah, the dogs.
The dogs.
The
Deval,
dogs
did you see that bit, Deval?
which bit? Hold on a minute.
Okay, so I think in the beginning of the movie, the bit that you also missed was
Yeah,
it goes back. There's a flashback to something that happens in the past
yeah,
where a dog goes missing. Yeah, the dog gets two dogs. They go running off. They fall into the hole. And
yeah,
do you remember the scene from The Thing
yeah, yeah.
where the dog? Do you
Where the
remember the
dog,
scene?
what, where he like splits open or something?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is just have that in your head. So that is kind of where we're at the beginning of the movie. So you
There's also
know,
a scene, just jumping forward a little bit. There's a scene in the class where the kid draws a picture
Yeah,
of two
the little
dogs.
girl. The
She
little
says,
girl,
"Oh,"
yeah,
and she says, "Oh, are those your dogs?" She said, "Oh, they used to be."
yeah,
yes.
Maybe there's a link to that as well. But
Yeah,
okay, okay,
exactly.
all right, all
So,
right.
so he kind of had the Thing vibe going on in that one as well, kind of, you
Mm.
know, with that special effects and everything, like really nasty, like, you know, that would freak the hell out of anyone you're seeing that. So they fall down this hole, and then from that point onwards, strange things start to happen. And the movie morphs into this kind of body horror, this idea about, you know, what it means to be a couple, and about you
Mm.
not, you know, being separate. They can't be separate from each other after this point, you know, in the movie.
Codependency, innit? Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly, like, you know, he starts feeling really strange when they
Mm.
start separating, and then there's a couple of mad scenes in there. There's a scene that happens in the school which is excruciating, which is
Oh.
nasty.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's kind of funny as well, though.
Yeah, funny as well.
Yeah.
So it was definitely funny. But here's the thing. So after they get stuck in that hole and it's daytime, how did they get out?
They just climbed out, isn't it?
Climbed out.
And why
I
couldn't
thought
they
it was
climb out in the night
before.
at the night?
Because it was
I think it
raining
was
or
because
something.
it was raining. It was
Mm.
raining. It was wet and slippery.
Maybe, yeah. I think that's what it was. Because it seemed too easy the way they climbed out. But I get what you're saying.
He just put his foot on something and he's got out,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we're out
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, I wasn't expecting kind of what the movie morphs into at the end. And it's, you know,
Mm.
we've seen a lot of body horror movies. I remember we saw Raw. Was it Raw or Titane? Remember we saw this French movie,
Oh, yes, Titane.
Titane or something.
Yeah.
And we've kind of seen there was what was that? Oh
What?
God, there's Substance. You know, it's kind
Mm.
of that the genre within the horror genre. You have the body horror movies, which they're not really my cup of tea, but if they're done really, really well, like I'm into it, and I want to kind of figure out exactly, like, you know, what's happening with this. But there's a whole kind of ritual sort of kind of religious cult thing going on in this movie as well, about why in that hole it's kind of, you know, there's something about this hole because there used to be a church on that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, what did you guys think?
I kind of was. I had mixed feelings about it. It wasn't like a horror, like you know, um, jump scare kind of horror.
No.
I felt that the relationship, what was happening between the couple, felt real because she, like, the
They're
proposal at
married
the
in real life,
beginning.
so
Mm,
What's
yeah,
that?
they are married in real life. So I guess it translated on screen.
Right.
Mm.
So yeah, so the way how, like, she is into him and he's like has this reservation, and it goes, and there's like the whole backstory of the drama and stuff like that. He's got a hesitancy that felt real for me. Like,
mm,
it felt like that was kind of like a genuine thing. But then it was almost the supernatural part was the pulling them together,
Mm.
which was
mm,
which contrasted to me from the little girl and what happened with her dogs, because
yeah.
with the two dogs they just sat in front of each other, which was just weird, seeing the two dogs just staring each other out and
Oh
nothing
man,
happening. Yeah. So the outcome at the end was different. I wasn't
I was
expecting
mad.
that either.
I was mad. Like I said before,
Yeah.
there's a whole scene where they can't be separate from each other at some point, and then because their
Yeah.
bodies are just basically kind of drawing.
Intertwined.
And I guess what do you think the director is like? Okay, let's think about modern society right now
Mm.
and how we are in relationships right now. Like, are we too attached to people? Like, are we? I don't know. Like,
I
was
think
he trying to was he trying to say something like we can't live
It
like
was.
I
even
think
our phones or something or our or other people, like, are we
I think there was
so kind
parts
of
of it.
attached?
I think there was parts of it where it kind of like meant it was kind of like a codependency,
Yeah.
Mm,
which was like a bad part of some relationships where it's you got that very dependent, the person that's very dependent on the other,
Mm.
and in a sense they were both dependent on each other in different ways.
Mm.
Like, at the dinner, there was an argument at the dinner table when they had that the neighbor over,
Mm.
yeah, the other
and the
teacher.
neighbor just witnessed it. Yeah, and his codependence, because he was afraid uh of the proposal part. You kind of like you kind of like saw how he became codependent on her, where it was like a drug that he needed to come back to her, and
Mm,
she wasn't in the same situation. Her one was different.
Yeah.
right.
She wanted that commitment and she wants that assurance from him, which
Yeah,
he wasn't ready to give. But I was going to say that, first of all, I just want to say when I just watched this film, it's quite fresh, just literally yesterday.
Mm,
And I watched it in the screen one, the biggest screen in the cinema,
mm.
and I was the only one there.
Oh
oh
shit.
wow,
The only person in the cinema, because of the time I watched it, it's like obviously
special
no
treatment.
one was around. I was the only person, and I tell you, there is something in watching a movie in a cinema where there's few or no one there. I
Yeah.
was shitting myself just for no reason.
Really?
Yes, I'm not joking because it's dark. It's even when I got
Oh,
there a
Yes.
bit late. So when I
yeah,
got there, it was that dream scene, and I sat down. I couldn't find my seat, even though there's no one there.
yeah.
And that dream scene, it scared me shitless.
I love it. I
And then
love it.
I started looking to the left and right. I looked around first. What's okay? Is anyone here? If I hear anything, I need to know. Is it me or is it someone else? I looked around. There was no one
Yeah.
in there. And then
Damn
at
it.
certain times, the CD you get peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Certain
Mm.
times I saw something flicker, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh shit.
honestly." So for me, watching, I think there's certain films like I've watched before where it's been a few like Hereditary. I watched there were a
Oh.
few people
Yeah.
that made it
Mm.
extra scary. This one,
Yeah.
I think, because of my environment, I
Yeah.
liked it a lot more than it was. But a
Yeah.
lot, the director Michael Shanks. First of all, I just want to say that there's actually a lawsuit going for this film at the moment
Oh,
because
for
Oh,
plagiarism.
plagiarism lawsuit because another filmmaker had made something similar that they said was basically their idea, and this was called what's it called again? Not Together. It was called something else. Better Half.
Damn.
Yeah, called Better
Okay.
Half. Like a comedy horror, very quite similar premise, not the same
Mm.
but similar. And Michael Shanks said no. That film came out in 2023.
Right.
He said he registered his scripts in 2020, so he
Right.
said that it's his idea, but they're still being taken to court.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
They're still being taken to court. So that's
I
still
thought it was
actually,
over.
it's still actually happening. Yeah. So
Mad.
so that's that madness. Also, the thing about the joining, that's actually from real Greek mythology. So Plato, what the
Yeah.
teacher describes, actually real shit.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure whether to mention that or not.
Yeah, that's from real shit. So they really believed that people were born with 4 arms, 4 feet, and they were joined together. And then over time we were separated for different reasons. Because I think because those people were too powerful and they were kind of opposing the gods. And in this, they take it back to that. So they're saying that this is meant to be our true form, and it's meant to be a happy process. So technically, that religion, even though they decayed and they fell apart, they are not baddies in this film. Even though they're depicted as baddies, it's something that you do voluntarily. The most part, they fell into the world by accident, I guess. But
Yeah.
the most part, you're supposed to voluntarily go through the process.
You
And
know
it doesn't
when
need to
you know
be
when
a complete beam. Like remember Dragon Ball Z fusion. Fusion.
But what with the teacher guy, the religious leader guy,
Yeah,
where did his partner go then?
he was
in him,
fused, he was
they were
fused.
together.
Yeah, he was already fused.
That's why towards the end when she punched him or something, it
He split.
distorted. Fusion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they fused. Yeah, they fused.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
But you know
so
when he was describing the mythology, for some reason it made me think of Dark Crystal and like where the mystics, they had four arms and they're slow, and basically they it was, I think maybe that that mythology has been repeated over other stories as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's very interesting. I think
It
the
was
film,
interesting, yeah.
and just the way the fusion, and there's that scene where they're both in a corridor getting dragged together at night.
Oh yeah,
Oh
I tell you, watch
man.
that in an empty
that
cinema,
was scary.
it's
I
scary,
know.
it's
And you know what? And the bit where she's on top of him and then he's like, okay, and then they kind of turn it, obviously there's a bit of comedy element in that as well, but cutting his arm off and like, with the saw and everything. And like I said before, I wasn't expecting it to go in that direction. It was turned into this kind of this whole thing. But then this is my question. What do you think? Like, maybe I'm reading into this too much, but is this some sort of commentary on the fact of modern day relationships right now? Are we too dependent on people that we eventually won't? There's going to be no separation, say, between you and your partner. We're all just one anyway now.
He said his version of it was from sort of real life experiences, and in relationships, like nothing is 50-50. It can't be. Like, well, it's rare. Basically, there's always a bit of lean and tug and so on. So somebody might depend on one person more than the other, and that sometimes that could be a burden. Perhaps, who knows? So the way it was depicted in this, the woman, Alison Brie, she felt she was carrying the load, and that he wasn't ready, and he was still searching for something that, or trying to attain something that 10 years now he's been trying to obtain that. And even her friend was like, oh, when's he going to be ready? Do you know what I mean? So they were at kind of different stages, but yes, that's life.
I think teacher, I think what I'd probably take from it is that I think what that we both need each other, like men and like today, like I think men and women are like very, I don't know, opposed,
conflict,
conflict, and where like both of us need each other because of what each other brings to the table, but we don't need to be afraid. Like I think what the teacher said in the movie,
I am the table. I am the table. about you on the table.
but I think, like, yeah, we like the guy needed not to be afraid. Like, what I think how the teacher made it, he made it very scary. But I think what it would have been more better if the two of them were sat at the dinner table, and he basically said, like, if you two saw the pros of each other and complemented each other, then that's where you basically are a unit. Like, you basically become together. But obviously, this was the theme on this one was more of a horror side of it. So
yeah. And it also kind of made me think about, like, the person that you love and that you're with and everything eventually will become the monster that you end up loving. Like, it literally is just like, at some point, some relationships where that happens, like, the thing that you love eventually is going to be the thing that's going to end up killing you or taking you.
If you oppose, because they showed that the couple that was missing,
yeah,
missing in the woods, they were the grotesque, crazy monster
Thing.
because they opposed the union. They didn't
yeah,
they
they
didn't
don't
submit
accept
to
it.
it like Alison Brie and Dave
And
Franco did.
And at the end of the movie, he says, like, look, I love you. And, like, then you could kind of see it. And he goes, and there's a bit where I thought he was going to stab her. But then he was like, he does that whole thing with the, with the married thing.
Willing to sacrifice himself. And that's the ultimate submission, isn't it?
Massive. So definitely, really, really interesting things. And like I said, it does it in this way you're through via body horror, which is interesting, which we don't kind of get. And, like, Emmanuel, we mentioned about this before about kind of like horror movies. They're like they're having a moment right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it makes economic sense for us to be having a lot more horror movies now. Just because like we know that horror budgets are low, and the return on the horror is it makes its money back. And then also, like, in terms of scoring, we also know that scoring wise, unlike where like you got blockbusters like Fantastic Four and whatnot, horror movies always there's like a grading system, like exams where it's A, B, C, and D, and horror always scores low. I think like either B or below.
Right.
So there's like less pressure as well for a studio. I mean, they'll still get graded, but in comparison to Fantastic Fours and all of them types of movies, there's less of an expectation for them to be ever scoring an A or a B. Like, if a horror movie does that, then it's like you just hit gold. But yeah, you're gonna be churning. Yeah, to me, it makes economic sense because you're gonna basically be spending less money, banking more money on the return when they do well, and even if they don't do well, because you spent so little, you can basically start another one and then do another one, which will So
this one cost $7 million to make, and so far it's done $20 million worldwide, and that hasn't been open in all markets. So I think this one should definitely 4 or 5x at least.
Yeah.
And if I'm talking historically, Guinness Book of Records, I think, still has either the Blair Witch Project or what's the other one? What's the other one?
It's not invisible, is it?
Oh my God, Paranormal Activity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's either Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity. Guinness Records has got like the biggest, like smallest budget and biggest gains. So
and then there's the other one grading as well, where there's less of a criteria for them to be meeting. I think age, the like LGBT, like diversity,
right? Gotcha.
And that kind of scoring. So yeah, so it's just.
I'm waiting for the movie where it ticks all the. It's a horror movie. It's got a person of color in it. They're transgender,
and we saw the blackening. Yes, and we saw them.
Yeah,
them. I watched that. Them. That had it all.
My God.
But that was very aware of itself. So
yeah. There you go. It's only a matter of time. All right. Okay. So that's Together. Go check it out. And let us know what you think. Now, Deval, have